Good morning and welcome to another session in our series Learning Agile using Scrum. Before we dig deeper into our session for today, let's explore what we have learned so far in this course. So in session number 1, we talked about what a project is and how is it different than routine activities. In week number 2, we talked about methodologies. We learned the differences between waterfall and agile and learned how to pick the right methodology for your project. And last week we talked about Scrum and we discussed the 5 Scrum ceremonies: the sprint planning, daily stand-ups, sprint demos, and sprint retrospectives. So moving along to our objectives for today. Today I want to discuss with you the Scrum team composition, the various roles we have on Scrum teams and their respective responsibilities, and then end with the topic very near and dear to my heart: accountability. What is accountability and how to build a culture of accountability within your organization. Most IT projects employ hundreds, if not thousands of people. The largest project that I have managed, we had over 1,800 people across 3 continents and working in follow the sun model. Now, managing large, complex projects are like managing Titanic. Too many unknowns, each with the potential to sink the project. Therefore, in the Scrum world, we divide the team into smaller units called squads. Squads can range from 3 to 12 members. The key is that each squad is self-sufficient unit that can take a feature from ideation to production. Why? Small ships and teams are more nimble, more flexible, more effective, especially when your project scope is fluid. Why? Because in small teams it is easy to have everyone on the same page and there is less waste. Teams are not working on activities that may no longer be relevant and are not going to add any value to the end users. Now, every software project is made up of a lot of individuals, as we discussed earlier, but they all can be broken into 4 or 5 critical roles. Right? There's a management team, project sponsor, project managers. Then there's a design team, people who gather requirements, convert them into technical designs. And then there are developers and testers. And let's not forget the end users. So in Scrum world, we need to make sure that we bring all these roles into that team. So we have 3 primary roles, as we call in Scrum. Number 1 is your product owner. Number 2 is your Scrum Master, and number 3 is the working team of developers and testers. Let's dig deeper into each of these roles and their responsibilities. Product owner is the individual who defines what value the Scrum team must deliver and in what priority order. Project sponsor role from the traditional world comes closest match to the product owner role. The key accountabilities of product owners are: number 1, identify what features teams are going to work and then decompose those features into user stories that can be taken up by the development team. Number 2, ensure that user stories are written clearly without any ambiguity. And number 3, prioritize user stories in the order that they need to be built. And number 4, once the user stories are written and developed, product owner needs to sign off on them, opening the gate for them to be deployed into production. Now, for project to be successful, your product owner needs to be successful. And for your product owner to be successful, you must ensure 2 things. Number 1, product owner is assigned to one individual and is not run by a committee. Number 2, whatever decisions product owner is making, they must be respected by all the stakeholders within the organization. Moving on to the next role, Scrum Master. In many books, the Scrum Master is equivalent to project managers in the traditional world. They are responsible for making sure that the teams are working according to the plan, and if there are impediments, they are removing those impediments to ensure that the team delivers the project goals. So in a nutshell, there are 3 primary responsibilities. Number 1, the developers are working on user stories as prioritized by product owner. Number 2, facilitate the daily stand-up meetings and help resolve any blockers that any team member may be facing. And number 3, help guide, coach the team members to make sure they are successful. So in summary, Scrum Master is here to serve the product owner and make sure that the project goals, the sprint goals are achieved. Developers, this is the majority of the team, and I'm clubbing testers also within this developer role. And as in traditional world, these are the individuals who do the heavy lifting, i.e. convert business needs into a digital product. So what are the main accountabilities of developers? So to me, again, the 3 primary accountability of developers are: number 1, once the story is written by the product owner, they need to ensure that there is enough detail that they can actually work through it and can be picked up for development. And number 2, that it can be completed within a single sprint. And number 3, joins all the Scrum ceremonies and be open and vocal if they are finding any challenges or issues that may be impeding their ability to finish those user stories. Now, one area where I tend to disagree with the textbook definition as per the Scrum guide is Scrum teams are cross-functional, where everyone can do everyone's job. However, in my 30 years of experience, I've never been on a team where everyone can do everyone's job. Software development is a complex work. And like any complex work, we need to have specialized skills to do that work. So expecting that anyone can do anyone's job is a myth in my mind. Even in no-code languages like Pega, you cannot expect that you can bring in someone from the COBOL world and have them work at the same level, let alone expecting our requirement gathering BA to able to code in Pega. This brings us to our final topic for the day: what is accountability and how to create a culture of accountability. What does accountability mean to you? To me, accountability means someone holding my feet to fire. I myself holding my feet to fire. If there's a task assigned to me, I must complete that task. And if I'm not able to complete that task, then I ought to be answerable to individuals who are going to be impacted by that, as well as my manager. Because when I assign accountability to my people, I expect them to be committed to their responsibilities. I expect them to be dependable, that they will finish their work. And if they are not able to, then they will plug me in and help them resolve issues that may be impeding them. I expect them to be dedicated to achieving the project goals. Now, I'm not suggesting this to be a blame game. I don't approve, in the name of accountability, one to be mean to other or be disrespectful to other. However, accountability is a key factor that defines if you are going to be successful in delivering and meeting your project goals or not. Now, how do you create a culture of accountability? In my opinion, there are 5 primary factors that will influence and push your team to become more accountable. Number 1, establish a culture of transparency. People must be encouraged to speak openly, not keep your cards close to your chest, and if there are issues that needs to be discussed, then let's have a discussion on those items. Let's be open and transparent. Number 2, make sure the expectations are set clearly. A lot of time people don't even realize what is expected of them. So please do not assume that your people truly understand what is that they need to deliver and what is a definition of a good job done. Number 3, make sure you empower your team. Empower them to make decisions, and once they make those decisions, you must respect those decisions, even if you beg to differ with those decisions. I know for a fact that not all the decisions I made in my life were correct. I have learned from my decisions. I've learned more from my decisions that were not correct, right? We learn more from our mistakes than our successes. And number 4, make sure that your team is equipped with the tools and knowledge that they require to do their job. You don't want to send your team into a battlefield without proper training and ammunition they require to win there. And number 5, which is one of the most important one, is that celebrate people and celebrate wins. Doesn't matter how big or small the win is a win. So make sure that you celebrate wins. So in summary, to create a culture of accountability, you need to do 3 things. Number 1, remove the distractions so team is focused. Number 2, make sure that they feel they are trusted. They can come to you and speak honestly, openly, without the fear of being reprimanded for that. And number 3, value your people. Value the work they're doing. Celebrate them. So that is it for today. Next week we will discuss how you can bring quality to anything you do, and then we will finish this series by talking about agile mindset. What is agile mindset and how to shift your organization to thinking in agile ways. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this session, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next week. Adios.